So before I get to the explanation for the potential looming crises, let me first explain that the full moon is happening in the 24-degree range of Leo and Aquarius. The sun is in Aquarius, the moon is in Leo. And this means that if you are born around the middle of February or the middle of May or the middle of August or the middle of November, then your sun sign is near those degrees. Therefore, you would feel this full moon more. Of course, this doesn't speak for any of your other planets, and this is where you need to know where your moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, etc., because if any of those planets are triggered, then there will also be a strong effect. Trigger means just about always conjunct or square or opposed, although if you get triangle angles to the moon, sun, such as like 60 degrees, 120 degrees, then the full moon is considerably easier to navigate. But either way, the full moon is a very high energy point in the cycle. And here's where I also want to refer to a video I posted about 2 weeks ago concurrent with the new moon, at which time I mentioned that the new moon is a good moment to start something, change a habit, take a direction, start something that you then do over the 2 weeks as you head toward the full moon, which is now coming up. And then you can gauge your progress in the sense that the full moon is the culmination, and so then you can have a kind of a harvest period where you reap the rewards, the insights, and all those things that are positive. And I can report that I myself did exactly this, and I can say that yes, it's worked quite well, in that I started to do something more regularly each day. Specifically in my case, it's linked to the health and well-being and spiritual houses. So my objective was to lengthen the quantity and quality of my meditation periods, and it has worked quite well. And now I'll be able to gauge a little more as the precise period of the full moon comes up, which is on Wednesday. Wednesday is the peak full moon day, although it's very early in the morning in the East Coast and still quite early in the West Coast, because it's 3 a.m. or so, peak point, East Coast, and 6 a.m. in the West Coast. But so you could say that the previous day, Tuesday, also counts for sure, and then all of Wednesday as well. So now, in regard to the potential crises, you can see that this moon is linked to the American moon, because the American moon is at 27 plus degrees of Aquarius, which is near where the sun is with the moon on the other side. So it's getting a trigger. But what adds a lot of intensity and a lot of potential unexpected shock is that Uranus is in the 23 plus range of Taurus at right angles to that sun moon. It's called a square in astrology. And so when you see that, you know, first of all, that the connection to the American moon involves the American public writ large. And you can pretty much guess what this is about, because we're seeing the Trump-Musk administration, flaunting the rule of law, what appears to be, building momentum is this thing about ignoring the rulings of judges and centralizing all the power in the executive. And when I look at where the full moon is happening, square Uranus, first of all, you'd say, well, it's building to a peak, something breaking, something exploding, some change, something important, Tuesday, Wednesday. I mean, it's possible that it could be possibly as early as today, since the moon is already in Leo. It entered Leo this morning. I think it's a little bit early. A better guess would be tomorrow, or even more likely Wednesday, and possibly even Thursday. I mean, in that sense, this is full moon week, but the key exact area is early Wednesday morning. And when I coalesce all of this with the charts of who I think are probably the two key players, namely Trump and Musk, it's affecting their individual charts, because in the case of the orange menace, the Uranus is really elevated in his chart near his midheaven degrees. So in one sense, that just tells you the planet is elevated, it's really prominent, but in another, it tells you that it's present and that it's linked to his chart and wired to produce an effect. Then you have Musk with Jupiter in the late degrees of Scorpio, which links also to the Uranus and to this full moon. And finally, when you look at their composite chart, the chart where you coalesce their two individual charts, you see that the composite Mars, which is a planet that in that chart connects it to always to initiatives, to taking action, that's Mars, but also because it rules the 9th sign, it connects it to the law, which is what is being challenged. And Uranus, Moon, Sun are activating that point. And then when I look at the fact that Trump is very, very close to the Saturn cycle, reaching his moon by square. It already reached the Uranus a little while ago. It's at the midpoint. I mean, it's already there, essentially. And for Musk, even more, because for Musk, it's solidly in there now for a full month, squaring his Venus. That, to me, suggests a pushback, something that has to be stopped, reduced, and at minimum, it would be delayed, because we're going to find out just how, intense and relentless these people are in trying to implement their plans. But I would say that at this point, the odds are quite good that their initiative will be in some way blocked, stopped, delayed at minimum. And then we have to continue watching and see what they do as the weeks and months continue to pass. But remember that, as you've heard me say in prior videos, Musk right now is dealing with a lot of Saturn. Trump, I'm going to say the beginning of March, it's almost in the same place. And March for Trump is very, very Saturnian as well. So all of this suggests that the pushback may be effective. And by pushback, the Democratic senators, Congress people are definitely starting to be more assertive, and the public as well is being more present to the situation. And I've been hearing about thousands and thousands of calls that are being placed to express displeasure with what is going on. So that's the bottom line on the full moon. And now let's see what happens. Of course, the final thing that I'll say is what I think I said either in the last moon video or possibly in a video before that, that it's important for us to stay informed, of course, to know what is going on so we can react. But even more important is for everyone to find their calm center. Stay calm and relaxed, because number one, it feels better than being tense and anxious, but also it helps you to take better action, which sometimes is no action at all. But if there's something to be done, you'll be able to do it more easily and with more efficacy. This is what people say when they, or rather what they mean when they say, connect with your guidance, connect with your guides. All of that is made possible when one is as relaxed as possible, as at ease as possible.